Hi students, this is Professor Sudhir Bisht. I teach business marketing to the MBA students of Delhi Technical Campus or DTC, which is in Noida, under Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi. We have already covered the process of segmentation. Just a quick recap. Segmentation is when the entire market of a business seller is split into various categories, and each category has some characteristics which are remarkably similar. So the entire market is uh, distributed, or it is split into various categories or segments. Just to give you an example, for example, if I am in the upstream business of crude oil, then I am looking to sell the crude oil to various refineries across the world. Okay, if I am if I am the seller of refined products, that if I am the owner of a refinery, then I am looking at the market where people buy refined petroleum products like LPG or aviation turbine fuel or motor gasoline or petrol or high speed diesel. So suppose I am a refinery and I am looking at my market. So my market can comprise of various big companies across the globe or in my specific geographical region, and I can categorize them into various segments. I can say I can categorize them into product category, that is people who buy the upper end. That means people who buy LPG, naphtha, people who buy petrol, people who buy kerosene, people who buy diesel oil. So I can split it like that, or I can split them into customers. Because for let us say for a refinery, if there is an independent refinery in India, who are the customers? Customers are the oil companies, Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum, and all these companies, they have their own refineries also. Okay, but Indian Oil Corporation's refinery, for example, its petroleum products are bought by other companies also, by Bharat Petroleum or by Hindustan Petroleum. So IOC as a business seller can segment the market into various customers. So this is the process of segmentation. We have done this process of segmentation. In this illustration which is shown on this, I am showing market with a circle, and when I run lines across this circle, which means this circle is now converted into number of pies, or each pie represents a segment. Each pie represents a segment. Now, as a marketer or as a seller, maybe it is possible for me to serve all these segments. Maybe it is not possible for me to serve all these segments. So which is the segment I will sell? This, if I choose to take out one pie from this circle and I choose to target this pie only, this pie then represents the target segment. This is targeting. I will explain this to you as we go along in this video lecture. So now you have taken out a slice or a pie from this circle, and this becomes your target market as it is shown in the illustration. Now this is, if we have understood segmentation, we have understood targeting. What is positioning? If you see on the pie, which is the target market, there is a small circle, and against that it is written desired position. So in the target market, I want to be seen as this circle, and that is what the desired position is. Position is what the customers think of me, or what I want customers to think of me. Positioning is different than offering. Offering is done by the seller, and positioning is in the mind of the customer. I may be supplying ball bearings to a factory or to an automotive unit, thinking that I am providing this ball bearing because this represents highest quality. This may be my feeling, but the customer may be buying the ball bearing from me, or because the ball bearings of this size are not available with any other marketer or seller. So his position is, it is Hobson's choice. There are no other vendors, there are no other suppliers. And what am I thinking? Oh, he is buying from me because I am giving a great supply. Or it may be possible that he is buying from me because the other guy whose quality is better than me has refused to sell him because that buyer's credit line is finished. So positioning is, what is the image of my product or my service in the mind of customer. So this completes segmentation, targeting and positioning. This diagram I have taken from a book called Business to Business Marketing, Relationships, Systems and Communication by Charles Phil and Karen Phil. It's published by Prentice Hall. Let's move further. Before we dive into targeting and positioning, let's also understand what are some of the barriers to segmentation process. There could be infrastructure barriers, there could be process barriers, there could be implementation barriers. Sometimes there are concerns of culture and structure and resources which can prevent segmentation process. And sometimes the process barriers means this reflects a lack of experience and guidance and expertise concerning the way in which segment is to be undertaken. There could be implementation barriers. These are practical barriers concerning a move to a new segmentation model. You may be looking at just one segment, and then you are being asked to move to some other segment to make your products and offering based upon other segments. So there can be infrastructural barriers, there can be process barriers, there can be implementation barriers. Generally, also there are some more barriers. Sometimes there may be limited production in each specific segment. Suppose customers are limited, and all segments, they look quite attractive, but none of them appears big enough to be able to give you the critical mass or the volume of scale. So it is not possible to produce products in mass scale for every segment. Therefore, company cannot take advantage of mass scale production. Uh, Sometimes market segmentation is expensive, both for production and marketing. Because if you, in order to satisfy different groups or segments of buyers, so producers have to produce products in various models, colors, sizes. So it can lead to expensive production, and the corollary is, it can lead to expensive marketing also. Because if you choose more than one segment, and because there are different buyers, so you have to consider all the segments in terms of their needs. So you have to formulate and implement several marketing strategies for different segments. Fourth, of course, is the difficulty in distribution. You know, uh, Maybe in terms of also reaching to them to get their orders. You may have to use different sales force. So there can be promotional problems, there can be stock and storage problems. So these are some of the problems, and you have to maintain large inventory. Promotion and distribution expenditures, they will increase when separate programs are used for different market segments. Yeah, one more point I want to say, that sometimes the characteristics of a market segment can change. So already the investments you have made, they become useless. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of market segmentation. So let's discuss targeting in some detail. After the creation of different segments, the managers or the top management, it has to decide which segment is best to target. Of course, some people can target all these segments. But you may not be having so much of resources. I gave an example of, uh, if you let us say you are in the business of selling software, okay, and you are not a company which can do expensive proof of concepts. You are not a company which is heavily invested into holding pilots and demonstrating your skills. So, which means that it may not be possible for you. It may not be possible for you to target high business, high volume customers. So, you may you may decide that, okay, I will go for mid segment business. I know of a company which is making accounting software and for retail business. Accounting software for retail business, but it is not approaching chain of retail outlets, a big chain which is having multiple retail outlets. Rather, it is targeting individual small retailers, because individual small retailers are looking at an accounting software which is within their reach, which they can purchase for something like 5,000 rupees, and the annual upgradation cost is low, and which satisfies their basic requirement. So this is how this software company has targeted small shopkeepers or retail stores at the level of a district or at the level of a market. So this is targeting. So for the purpose of targeting the buyer company, the seller company, it takes into account the ultimate objective. Normally managers will take into account which target market will be profitable to them, and if they have resource to meet them. Okay, just to explain this further, uh, there are three things which the to when you are taking a when a marketer is taking a decision about adoption of strategy. You will think your company resources. Are your company resources thin? So if you have very limited company resources, then you will choose a different target market. Also depending upon the product features and benefits. So, so if your product features and benefits are far in excess of what the buyer wants, then this and it adds to cost to it, then it's not a very good targeting decision. So you have to take into account the characteristics of the segment, and if your product or your service is matching with that, trying to satisfy that. So there are three strategic options which are available to the market. One is called concentrated market. Concentrated. In this, the company focuses on a single segment at a time. Sometimes it is also referred to as niche marketing. So in concentrated marketing, the seller or the supplier or the person who's offering product or service, it tries to become the blue chip within this segment. It wants to be the best in this segment. Concentrated marketing. The second option is differentiated marketing. In this also, in this the marketer, it concentrates on more than one segment. In concentrated segment, only one segment. In differentiated market, more than one segment the seller serves. So it will offer a differentiated marketing mix for each segment. Sometimes differentiated marketing is also called multi-segmented marketing. And the third option is undifferentiated marketing. This is like a scattergun approach. The marketer offers just one basic product that would serve the needs of people belonging to the customers of various characteristics. So you can call it concentrated marketing, in which one segment is concentrated; differentiated marketing, where more than one segment is the target, and you make differentiated marketing mix for each segment; and undifferentiated marketing, where you have the basic product that you think will serve the needs of uh, customers with different firmographics or with different usage characteristics or with different buying criteria. So this is targeting. I have explained to you the three options. So I thought I will also include a part wherein I explain to students the difference between comparison between segmentation and targeting. Most of you would have understood by now what are the that they are two different entities, but still for giving greater clarity, meaning meaning of segmentation is the process of classifying the market into several approachable groups. I repeat, segmentation is the process of classifying the markets into several approachable or accessible groups, whereas targeting is the process of concentrating on a particular segment of the market to which you will offer products. You know, so segmentation is the process of classifying the market, and targeting the process of picking up one of the parts of the segment. So segmentation is concerned with dividing up the market by grouping the customers with similar needs, and targeting is choosing the right segment. So segmentation divides the market by grouping customers with similar needs, and targeting chooses the right segment. So which means in the stage of target marketing or in the stage of STP, what will come first? STP means segmentation, targeting and positioning. What will come first? First will be segmentation always and always, and then targeting and then positioning. It can never happen that you position first and target first and segment first. No, it can never happen. This is the That is why some people say that management is a bit of a science also, because you cannot reverse the process. Of course, some people maybe who are not using formal knowledge of marketing management, they may have developed something like segmentation, targeting and positioning without their knowing uh, that the process what they are doing, what is it called. It is possible, but it is not possible that you position your product first and then you go searching for targeting and then segmentation. Even before marketing management became a formal field of study, the sellers who were even at the who were at the grassroots level, at the village level, they were doing in their mind segmentation, targeting and positioning. We will now discuss positioning. What is positioning? Positioning, where does it take place? It takes place in the mind of the buyer of the target segment. The seller attempts to make positioning, but ultimately it is the buyer's mind that it positions that product in his mental setup. Aim of the positioning is to enable the buyer, not just the buyer, even potential buyer. So current buyer and potential buyer. The aim is that these buyers and potential buyers should view the supplier as different from other suppliers. And when I say different, different in a positive sense, that it adds, that it is a source of added value. It is a source of added value. So if I am supplying machine oil, if I'm supplying machine oil to let us say a factory, then I want one position can be I am trying to tell the buyer that I am the most reliable supplier, even if the product is in short supply, I would supply you. There was a time in India when lubricant oil or engine oil or machine oil basically lubricants used to be in short supply. Sometimes there would be stock out. So this can be my position. Okay. There are some railway RR engine oils which are supplied to Indian railways and mostly by Indian Oil Corporation, because the position of Indian Oil Corporation's uh, railway oil is that come what may, Indian Oil will make it available at all times. Okay, let's understand the Indian Army. Let's take Northern Command, which headquarters in Udhampur. They will buy from Indian Oil because they know Indian Oil is the only company which can keep so much strategic reserves for them at all time, even if there is loss to them, even if Indian Oil does not make money, because it's a matter of prestige. So this is the position that it's Indian Oil Corporation is the most reliable supplier of petroleum products to the Indian Army. So this is position. Okay. So what are the various approaches for positioning? You can say that there are two main approaches. One is a functional approach, and one is expressive or non-functional. You can call it expressive approach. What is functional approach? Functionally branded brands, they stress about features and benefits. If you use my carousel, now what is a carousel? Carousel is something, it's a machine which goes round and round and round, and there are filling guns. Let us say in a LPG carousel, which I know, Chris Plant, Kosan, many carousels, or Menon and Patel, these are the companies which make carousel. Uh, so what happens is through pneumatic force, the machines, the carousel keeps on rotating, and the, a cylinder is placed automatically and the gun comes down, and if the carousel completes one circle in 60 seconds, 14.2 kilograms of gas is filled in this cylinder. So functional, because when there was no carousel, the cylinders were filled manually. So sometimes it will fill more, sometimes it will fill less. But when carousel came to India, it must have come to India in 1980, in 80s. So the position was functional position. We will fill accurate LPG in quick time. Functional positioning. Then there is second positioning is expressive positioning, where you emphasize not so much on the features and benefits, but you emphasize on the ego, pride, hedonistic satisfaction. What is hedonistic satisfaction? Which mainly deals with pleasures that a brand can give. Okay. Industrial, even in case of industrial product, it is possible to position your product successfully in expressive positioning category. It is possible. You think of an organization which has a large workforce, and it uses buses. It has its own fleet of buses. I'm taking a hypothetical situation, to transport the workers of its factory in the buses. So a factory which belongs to a company which is doing very well, it will take pride in transporting their workers in a Volvo bus which is air conditioned. And the bus will have the logo of the company. It will be branded in the company colors. Pride, isn't it? It emphasizes pride, that you are ensuring that your employees are coming to factory, going back to home safely, in a manner which is most comforting to them physically. Otherwise, you can use a normal bus. Why do you need a air condition? Why do you need a bus which is air conditioned? Look at the way look at the way some of the companies will want all their people, all their salespeople to be using the latest sales tools. It is functional. It is for a enhanced added function, but it is also for positioning their own company in the eyes of people. So positioning is very, very important. Positioning is very, very important. And how to develop a position? That is the question. How to develop a position? To develop a position, it is recommended that a series of steps are to be followed. And I'm taking this from again from Business to Business Marketing Relationship Systems and Communication by Chris Phil and Karen Phil, Prentice Hall. So you consider some points. I will explain. I think I will explain this thing to you in the next slide, and I'll show the points, and I will be speaking alongside. That will be better. So how to develop a position? How to develop a position? And there are some there are series of steps or processes which are to be followed. First is you have to scan the environment and you have to know what are the positions held by which competitors, isn't it? What are the positions which are held by which competitors? Number two is you identify the key determinant attributes which are perceived by buyers as important. You must understand what do the buyers want. Okay, but this will need a lot of marketing research, and you need to understand their attitudes and their perception. Point number three is you sample the target market to and you determine how they rate each product. So this is kind of test marketing, expensive exercise, but if in case you are a depends upon how sophisticated your product is, how expensive your product is. So sample the target segment and determine how the target segment rates your product and service. So here it also becomes important and that you have to determine what are the current position, what are the current positions which are held by relevant products and organization. Same as first point, where you try to know the competition, what are the positions that they are holding. After that, after you have done the test marketing, you have to see what will be the desired position for your brand. Is this strategy feasible in view of the competition? Also, is this strategy feasible when you compare it with your budgets? Are there any budgetary constraints? It will require a long-term perspective because if you have selected a position, then you need to sustain it. Okay. And then you have to implement a program to establish the desired position. You will have to go for a promotional program or you will have to choose your distribution strategy. It may require a change in the features of product or and finally then you have to monitor the perception of customers and you have to see their changing tastes and requirement on a regular basis. That is why so much of feedback is taken. So much of feedback is taken. If you see Udan, which is a B2B online marketer, it is constantly talking to its people. People means its retailers because Udan is supplying products, grocery products, FMCG products to the retailers in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So they are constantly talking to them. So to summarize, you have to see what position the competitor has taken. What are the key determinant attributes? Try to sample the target market. Based upon that, determine a desired position. Also consider if you have any budgetary constraints because a long-term perspective is required. Implement the marketing, implement the program to achieve that position. Last but not the least, you have to monitor the perception held by the customer and their changing tastes and the requirement on a regular basis. So after I have explained to you the various approaches to positioning, which is functional or expressive, there are certain tactics, tactics. How do various B2B industrial customers they position their products? The most important is product features. I came across companies in the space of solar power stations cleaning. All these solar power generating companies which generate energy through solar power. They have a lot of panels, solar panels, and these panels they require daily cleaning. Because if the panels are not clean, if they are covered by dust, the efficiency of these this manufacturing, uh, electricity manufacturing using solar panels, it reduces drastically. So I saw a company which is offering robotic cleaning of solar panels with minimum usage of water, because a lot of water is used. So this is an attractive positioning tactic. There could be a company which will say that we ensure robotic cleaning. Robotic cleaning means cleaning of solar panels without use of manpower. A machine is doing the cleaning instead of a human being. Otherwise, in the olden days, somebody will mount up on the solar panel and use a broom and clean. Nowadays, it's replaced by robotic machines. So, product feature. Somebody could say that I will clean the solar panels without using water. So, product feature is one tactic. One could be price, the most value for money, or quality. Okay. Uh, Quality in terms of, I remember there was a company which was making a telematic solution for telecom companies, and it says that my MTBF, minimum time before failing, is 20 years. That is, my product will not fail till 20 years. What a brave, bold statement. It will not fail for 20 years. So the quality. Some people can talk of price. Some people talk in terms of giving benefits, specific benefits to users, specific benefit to particular type of organization. Like IBM used to say that our as a seller, my selling process or my marketing process is so transparent and so ethical that nobody can be sacked for ordering an IBM machine. It's a so that means you are positioning your company as a ethical company which will never use unethical means to sell to your organization. One tactic could be benefit. You say I am giving a product which is high class, first class, value for money. Other benefits I am providing. For example, you can say that I provide you engine oil, and I also take samples from the sump and do condition monitoring test and tell you how good that oil still is, how long can you use it. Benefits, added benefits. Some people position themselves as a seller who's got vast experience, depth of knowledge, and great corporate reputation. I remember ExxonMobil used to pride itself as the world's biggest supplier of base oil for lubricants in the world. And we are the biggest company in the world, lube company in the world. So these are various positions. You can highlight your product features, or you can talk more about your price, quality. You can give specific user benefits, or your processes, like you're very ethical. Benefits. Okay, my price is this, but I give you so many additional benefits. Then last I explained experience and depth of knowledge. You try to leverage your own reputation as a buyer, as a seller of the product, and to say I am the master of this field. So these are various positioning tactics. This also completes our unit 1, and this also finishes the positioning and targeting, which was the objective of this video lecture. So thank you very much for going through this.